All right, everyone, we're gonna get this party started. First of all, we're gonna start by thanking our sponsor for lunch, and is Miss Helen here today? Okay, Lashana, you want to lead us in prayer? Okay, so we're gonna start with a prayer, and then we're gonna thank our lunch sponsor for.
Look at I'm wearing the right shirt.
Is there any empty seats next to anyone? We have an empty seat over here in the front.
We got one over here in the front.
Did you take it?
Splash it on me.
Where's Sprinkle?
Okay, everyone. Bow your heads. Shonda.
Dear Lord, we just thank you, Father God, for this opportunity to come before you with our requests and our petition. We just pray that your Spirit is here, that our ears are open to hear, that our minds are able to receive what we're being taught and retain it, Lord God, and put it into practice. In your name we pray. Thank you for the leadership and the building and the place together. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Okay, Lord. Thank you for sponsoring lunch. Thank you very much. Everyone listening? All right, here we go.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Thank you again for coming to this mandatory meeting. I know you're going to enjoy. I just wanted real quick, I know your time is valuable. I'm with Home Guard Incorporated. There's flyers in the back where the food is at. We do anything from home inspections, roof inspections, pool inspections. We do termite, and we also offer NHD. If you do get more than one inspection, the price is less. We do give discounts for multiple inspections. And one of the key points that I really liked about how our company works is that when you order multiple inspections, all the inspectors will show up at the same time. So you don't have to be worrying about what your plan and how their schedule is going to be through the week. We also offer Saturday inspections, which is great. And if you need the same day report, just make sure that when you're calling our customer service to schedule it, to pick 8:30 or 10:30 a.m. slots, and you'll have your report that same day. Obviously, if you call me, we can always make it happen if there's a later appointment, so don't feel that you're not going to get it the same day if you need it. Our pricing is very, very inexpensive, and I'll tell you just because I know a lot of home inspections are pricey. Ours start at $405 for under 2,000 square feet. We also are able to build to escrow. If you build to escrow, there is a $40 more fee on it, but your client can go ahead and take advantage of that as well. So anything else, I will definitely will be here to the end of the meeting. If you guys have any questions, I'm here to help you.
Awesome. Okay, so now, without further ado, let's introduce the man of the hour, Raymond.
Thank you, God. I appreciate it. How's everybody doing?
Fantastic.
Before the carb coma kicks in, I gotta post something on social media and pretend like it was a really, really hyped class. On the count of three, just give me like a woo! 1, 2, 3. Woo! Better than I thought. Holy hell. KWR eyes, they were like, dude, you put on a great class, man. I didn't even say anything. Let's first kick it off. Let's give a huge round of applause to our leadership team for putting on an incredible mandatory meeting that you guys I want to start things off by making sure that everybody knows this is interactive. I pound a lot of coffee on a daily basis, and yet I feed off the energy of the folks that I get the opportunity to serve. And so if your guys' energy stinks, I'm just going to take a nap. Okay? So I want you engaged. I want you to raise your hand if you have any questions. I want you to take some notes. At the end, we'll do kind of some aha sessions. We'll do some Q&A, but I want to make sure that we keep the energy going because I know you guys have a lot of cards in front of you, and it looks like it's an incredible lunch. I want to kick it off with some bad news. This is not a contract class. I know. You guys are bummed to hear that we're not going to go line by line through the BRBC. I know.
But someone's happy.
But I would rather have my teeth pulled than go through another contract. So we're not going to do that today. We're going to have some fun, and I'm going to share with you how me as an agent is tackling the new changes, specifically as it pertains to the BRBC. Does that sound good?
Oh, that's exciting.
We'll figure it out later. I'll get you guys up to speed. I am your Bold Coach. coach for next week's launch. I'm a former TL, who's in that role for 4.5 years. Thank you so much. Took the La Jolla office from second to last to number 2 in profitability in the Southern California region, led the fastest growing office in SoCal. I'm also a state director for CAR, and I'm the vice chair for the education committee. And so I have been knee deep in these changes for the last couple of months, and I'm here to share with you some insights and answer any questions that you've got specifically about how these changes are affecting our buyer representation. Okay? I want to kick things off with a question, and I start a lot of my classes this way. Who's the best agent in this room?
Me.
Right here. Right there. Everywhere. Come on. Everybody raise your hands. Woo!
For those of you that said me or I am, why? What makes you the best?
Because I'm working hard at it.
Because I work hard for my clients, right? Wow.
I communicate.
I communicate. Fantastic.
Integrity.
Integrity. For those of you that didn't say me, why not?
Integrity.
For those that said I'm not.
I'm still working on educating myself to be the best that I can be for my client.
I love that. I'm still working on educating myself to be the best for my client. Who is still working on themselves to be the best for their client? You are not alone, and you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Why not? Let me ask another question. Why do I ask that specific question to start every class? Anybody know?
To help people see where they can do better.
That's a huge part of it. And I love that footnote, that one, where we can all be better is exactly what we're going to cover today. All of us can be better in our buyer consultations. That's exactly why we're here. Why do I ask that specific question? Who's the best agent in this room? Anybody have an idea?
You want to see who got it. You want to see who got
Who's
it.
got that swagger? Yeah!
Value we bring.
The value we bring, I think that's huge. Mindset. I truly believe that no matter what your answer is to that question, you are right. So for those of you that say, I am, you're right. For those of you that don't, you're also right. And yet, just like the gal on the back said, we are all, as of today, working to be better for our clients. Because what might have made you the best 5 years ago is not what's going to make you the best for the next 5 years. And we agree that the industry changes on a dime, and it is changing in a significant way in 2 days.
Yes.
The changes that we've been talking about for the last couple of months are not coming, they are here. We are in it. And so what might have made you the best agent before, well, you got to be a very different agent on Thursday to make sure that you continue to be the best for your client. Now, what I can tell you is that a lot of the offices that I've spoken to in my role at CAR, they are struggling and they are panicking and they are trying to figure out in real time how to navigate the changes that are in front of us. And unfortunately, a lot of them have no idea what's going on and what they're going to do. Today, at the end of this class, you will know exactly what you are going to do, because what I am very confident in is that there is no company better suited to overcome the changes that are in front of us than our company. KWRI at a national level and your local leadership team are here to make sure that you've got the support, the resources, the training, and the guidance to navigate anything that gets put in front of us. What makes now so important is that if we focus on being the best version of ourselves for our clients, in the next couple of months, we will have lapped every one of our competitors. Now is the time to make sure that we are honing our craft, that we're getting better every single day. The last 3 months are gone. What we do from this point forward is going to dictate our success for the rest of the year, which means that Bold could not be more perfectly timed. I'm going to make a commitment here to make sure that everybody that shows up for Bold over the course of 7 weeks is going to get 150% that I can, to make sure that you can go tackle everything that is here. With the idea being that if you focus and give me 100% of what you got, you will come out of it bigger, stronger, better, with a business that you don't even recognize. And I promise by the end of this year, we'll look back and say we won. We crushed it. We took care of our clients at an even higher level than we did before because of the focus that we put in this classroom today, and that we will continue to put in for the next 7 weeks. You guys game?
Yes.
All right. Now, let's say you've got a buyer in front of you, and they're saying, my agent is the best. What would you have to be, and how would you have to show up for your buyers to say, my agent is the best agent? What are they looking for? Knowledge. Yeah.
Being on time.
Being on, I love punctuality. It's such an underrated skill. And then, unfortunately, in Southern California, it is what it is. But I value punctuality. We just had this conversation. In SoCal, we just do things a little bit different. 15 minutes late is still a long time. Yeah, it's early. If your buyer is saying, my agent's the best, how are they describing you?
Prepared.
Trustworthy, prepared.
That they're looking after their best interest.
That they're absolutely looking after their best interests.
Great.
Negotiation skills.
Great lines of communication.
Lines of communication. Whether you're in your first year or your 30th year, can we all agree that your clients are looking for somebody that cares, somebody that can communicate, somebody with the knowledge to navigate them through the process? That's what makes you the best for your client. We all agree. Raise your hand.
Yes.
Fantastic. That's exactly why we're here. That's exactly what Bold is going to position you to do, because what I love about real estate and what I love about this market is that it doesn't care what you did last year and it doesn't care what your resume looked like for the last 30 years. This market and this industry doesn't care about your background, about your socioeconomic status, doesn't care where you grew up or how you grew up. It rewards the people that keep their head down, that focus on building a big business and do the activities that allow them to serve their clients at the highest level. Does that sound like you? I hope so. That's what we're here to build. Bold is about building your life by design, not mine, not anybody else's. And what I can promise you, I'm a testament to it, I grew up in a very humble household. If you keep your head down and you work your tail off, there's nothing in this life that you cannot accomplish. And real estate is the vehicle to get you there. I'm just going to be the sounding board. Cool?
Yes.
There's 2 things that we need to focus on that are going to determine our success in the coming market. I want you to write these down. We're going to take some notes throughout the class. Oh, I love it. Everybody's like, yeah, I've got my pen and paper ready. Confidence and competence. Confidence and competence. And they're so related, right? When you have the competence to go do something, right, the knowledge to go navigate the buying process, is it fair to say that you're more confident in your ability to take care of your client? And yet, the competence is typically the first domino. Now here's where we should all embrace the massive opportunity in front of us. Who here has seen the new MLS changes that are coming out in 2 days? The answer is no. Nobody has, because they're not out yet. Okay? No one has. Who here have used the new contracts that just came out, what, Wednesday? Not even a week old? 99% or more of the industry hasn't touched them, which means we are all at a level playing field. What does that mean? What kind of opportunities in front of us, knowing that it doesn't matter how long you've been doing this or what your pipeline looks like, we are all starting from scratch. You guys see the opportunity? Can we embrace what's in front of us? Our open house is going to look a little bit different. Our buyers' expectations are going to be a little bit different. Are the conversations we're going to have look a little bit different? Or are we going to make less? No. Because time and time again, consumers prove that if they value something, they will pay for it. It's no different than anybody in this room. If I consider something to be valuable, I will pay whatever it takes to have that thing. What is the most expensive purchase that most people are going to make in their lifetime? A home. They will pay to have it. And they will pay for valuable representation to get it. We have to understand our value to make sure that we are paid what we are worth. Okay? Give yourself a huge round of applause for being in this room to make sure that you're valuable. Now, competence is huge. Can we also agree that if you're not confident, your clients are going to know?
Yeah.
You agree? Yeah. You ever have somebody shake your hand? Hi, my name is Rick. I'm like, oh, like I dated one of those guys. Versus, my name is Ray. I'm really looking forward to helping you through the whole buying process. There's a difference, right? Confidence is key, and if we don't have it, your clients will know it. And what's great is we've already discussed that the quickest way to build confidence is through competence. And so here's what I want to make sure that I'm stressing. I can prove how important competence and confidence is. It is not based on your resume, it's not based on how many homes you sold, it's based on how you show up in a consultation one-on-one with the understanding that your client doesn't care about how many homes you sold, they care about communication and how much you care about them. You want me to prove it? Mm-hmm. You guys have all been taking notes since I started talking. How many homes have I sold? And yet here you are. A bunch of doofuses. You have no idea if I've ever sold a house. Why? Can we say that I'm confident in what I do? Yes. Can we say that I am competent in the things that I'm talking about? Yes. And yet, you have no idea if I've ever sold a house. You show up like that for your clients and they will sign on the dotted line with whatever it is you said. I'm going to prove it at the end of the day today. I'm going to sell the hell out of some stuff. Okay? See, you guys laugh at something that's not even really that funny. I'm not kidding. Now, here's what I want you to think of. You're going to have an opportunity to go compete. What are some of the things that you need to show up with at a buyer consultation to compete at the highest level and make sure that your people pick you?
Preparation.
Preparation in what?
What you intend to do. Like preparation.
Honestly, I was really hoping it took like 4 or 5 guesses to get there, but that's really it. And here's why preparation I think is so important. You can show up with the sexiest buyer packet that's got these beautiful pictures, you can Canva the heck out of it, and it can look so good. And yet if you're not prepared to dive into it, it means nothing. You ever have the agent with a beautiful headshot, they drive the BMW, they look the part, and they've never sold a house. You have to be prepared. Phil Jones, I think, says this best. When is the worst time to think of what you have to say? In the moment you gotta say it. So here's what I want to stress. We're going to go through this script today. Okay? If the first time you're practicing your script and preparing your new consultation, if the first time you're doing that is in front of your client, ooh, you probably lost. Because at the end of it, they're going to have a question for you that revolves around value and why they're going to compensate you for that value. And if the first time you have to explain the answer to that question is in front of them, imagine how that's going to pour out. Prepare to succeed, and you will. We're going to start today, and yet don't let it stop today. You have to leave here and make sure that what we discussed doesn't just stop. Okay? We have to put in the hours to be good at our craft. And let's be really candid. Can we be really honest with each other for a second? Yes. I'm a huge believer that if you're not willing to put in the time to read the contract and prepare your consultation, you don't deserve the client. Is that too harsh? No.
I love it. Keep it harsh. Keep it harsh.
What's the median sale price in Lake Elsinore and Inland Empire? More than $500,000 you're playing with, and you won't take the time to read a contract. Guys, we're dealing with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars of somebody else's money. Preparation is crucial, and if you're not willing to take the time to prepare to serve that client at the highest level, refer them out to somebody else in this room. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. As a consumer, as a buyer, I deserve good representation. I have no doubts. I'm not describing anyone in this room. Leave here and don't stop with what we're doing today. Continue to practice, continue to prepare, and show up for your client like they're about to spend $600,000 on a house, because they are. Okay? Let's start preparing. For about 2.5 years, I was the director of the Kevin Blaine team. It was the #1 team in the state of California. We did just under 1,500 units per year. And since working with Kevin, I've gone on to run my own office and start my own team. We close 95% of our buyer consultations that we go on, and we don't do anything crazy. In fact, we've asked the same 13 questions for more than 7 years. is really simple. Can I go through them with you? Absolutely. Fantastic. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm going to give you some highlights. If you want all of them, email me. First bit of homework. I always start the consultation with thank you. We have an appointment at 9 a.m. It is 9 a.m. because I believe in punctuality. And the reason that I started with that, whether it's a buyer or a listing, is I'm already positioning myself against the competition. Can we agree that punctuality is not necessarily the biggest thing here in Southern California? And yet when I draw attention to it, what am I doing?
You bring it up to life.
I'm setting myself apart. I'm displaying integrity. I'm doing what I said I was going to do. Hey, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me. We have an appointment at 9 a.m. It is 9 a.m. I'm so excited to share with you how we're going to get you into the home of your dreams. If you don't mind me asking, question number one, what do we think the first question I'm going to ask is? What's the first question you ask in your buyer consultation?
Are you pre-qualified?
Are you pre-qualified? That's a great question. I'm going to go before I ask that. I'm going to ask a different question. Anybody want to guess?
What's your motivation?
Say it louder, please.
What's your motivation?
I ask it a little bit of a different way, and yet at the end of the day, I need to know what's motivating them. Because here's the reality of what they're about to walk into. They're going to take all of their stuff. And for some of them, it is a lot of stuff. Like way too much stuff, like an overwhelming amount of stuff. They're going to take it all, and what are they going to do with it? They're going to put them in a box. They're going to put all of their stuff, sometimes decades worth of lots and lots of stuff. They're going to put it in a box. They're going to tape that box. They're going to label it. And then they're going to go haul it to another location, and then what are they going to do? Unpack. How many things would you rather do than that? A lot of things, like a whole array of different things that I would rather do. And yet, they're going to do it. Because something is motivating them to do it. And it has to be something big. In this market, it has to be real motivation. If you think about it, like it obviously has to. What would prompt you to move? What are some of the things that would compel you to take all of your belongings, put them in boxes, go relocate them, and then unpack them? That's not the ideal way that I want to spend a Saturday. Yet, for thousands of clients, they're going to do it. Because there is a real motivation that is driving them to do something like that. So the very first question I ask is, thank you so much for taking the time to sit with me. I'm excited to talk to you about how we're going to get you into your dream home. If you don't mind me asking, what's prompting the move? What's prompting the move? You notice the way I said it? Am I interrogating them? Hey, what's prompting the move? Tell me now! I come from a place of genuine curiosity, and tonality is massive with the questions that I'm going to ask. Because if I come across like I'm a CIA interrogator, I don't know that that's the experience that they're looking for. Maybe a small segment of our audience, and yet probably not most of our buyers. So what's prompting the move? The answer to that question is going to come up repeatedly throughout the rest of my buyer consultation. Because I have to remind them what's at stake. And if it is something big enough, they will move. And what we've seen over the last 2 years, if it's not big enough, they won't. And sometimes you have to dig. Sometimes you have to dig real deep. What's prompting the move? Tell me what's important about that. Sometimes it's, hey, tell me, let's say we don't make the move. What happens then? Dig. If you get a surface level answer that doesn't appear like they're motivated, keep going. Dig deeper. But in this market, what we know with higher interest rates, with prices through the roof in Southern California, motivation has to be there. The second question I love to ask, hey, thank you so much for sharing. If you don't mind me asking, how long have you been thinking about this? Again, we're not CIA interrogators. We're not Chris Voss. How long have you been thinking about this? Why is that so important?
Shows that how motivated.
I'm doubling down. How motivated? Oh, I've been thinking about it for 3 years. Okay. Well, what makes now the right time?
Because I'm tired of looking at this stuff out here.
And it could be that. So you're telling me you've been renting for the last 3 years. How much is the rent payment that you're making? So over the last, let's say, $4,000. So over the last 3 years, you spent $48,000 a year on rent. Yeah. It's $144,000 that you spent over the last 3 years on rent. Interesting. What makes it over time? Keep going. The first part of my 13-question questionnaire is really designed to get me to know them. I want to understand who I'm working with, and I want to invest in the process and in the outcome with them. So what's prompting the move? You know, I want to get into an area where the school district is better for my kids. That's a real motivation. I've got a 20-month-old. The school that I want her to go to is a far drive. We're going to move in a year. That's real. It sucks. She is the most expensive bill that I have. I'm shocked at how much more money she keeps taking. It's crazy. And yet, absolutely worth it. Right? So, hey, you know, I want to get into a good school district. Hey, how long have you been thinking about this? You know, just about 6 months. Okay. What makes now the right time? You know, they've got a wait list. And if I don't live in that area, I can't get on the wait list. And that wait list is going to take about 18 to 24 months. Fantastic. So it sounds like we got to move pretty quickly. Tell me, what's the ideal timeline? Question number 3. I'm getting to know them and I'm investing in the process. I'm asking, what's the ideal timeline? Who's going to be living in the home? What areas have you been thinking about? If you're anything like me, you probably at least browsed a little bit on the Z word and the realtor.com word, right? What's the price point that you gravitated towards? What's your name? The second part of my 13-question consultation is designed around hitting them heights. I know what I need to know about them. Let's have some fun now. And I literally will say, okay, let's have a little bit of fun. Let's picture your ideal home scenario. How many bedrooms are we thinking? 3 bedrooms. And if they say it's just me and the wife living in the home, fantastic. What are the other 2 bedrooms for? If you don't mind me asking. Having more kids, I need a home office. Oh, do you work from home? You see how I'm taking these high-level questions and I'm just digging deeper? And I'm just creating a casual, fun conversation. What I'm doing with these 13 questions is I'm going to identify, and I'll get to in just a minute, exactly how I need to show up for my client and invest in the outcome with them as a partner. Because, spoiler alert, at the end of this consultation, what am I going to ask them to do? Sign what? And what does that contract entail? My pay. So if I don't know how to take care of them and I'm not invested in the process, I don't feel very confident about my ability to get paid because I don't have the competence to understand how to serve that client. So how many bedrooms? How many bathrooms? Question I'd love to ask, hey, what are 3 non-negotiables that we have to keep in mind? And don't give yourself the out. Don't give yourself the out of, hey, what are 3 non-negotiables? Some things that, you know, maybe you like, some stuff that you would really want. Just stop. Non-negotiables, stop the sentence. Because the second you give them an out, what do? They start giving you stuff that's not, everybody is negotiable. Versus, hey, what are 3 non-negotiables? Oh. The 3 things that come to mind are pretty important. Pretty important. Okay? Then what are some other things that you need in the home? What are some things that you want in the home? Where do you see yourself spending the most time? What's important about that area? When I ask where do people spend the most time, I usually get just a couple of answers. Spoiler alert, it's never the bathroom. Oddly enough, never. What are most of the, I'm sorry, that was such a crude student. You guys are getting such a weird glimpse into how my head works. What are the common answers that I get when I ask where do you spend the most time?
Kitchen.
Kitchen. And then the follow-up question, do you cook a lot? Love that. What kind of food do you guys like to cook? And I'm building rapport. I'm getting to know them. What are some other answers? Family room, absolutely. Is that where you and your family gravitate towards? You guys spend a lot of time, you know, hanging out in the family room? Fantastic. Sounds like family is something that's important to you. Backyard's another one. Yeah. Backyard is big. Fantastic. Do you have any pets? Yeah. How many millennial buyers right now don't have kids and are buying houses for their dogs? Right? I would say a good 10 to 20% of our buyers are, I need a backyard for my dog. Sounds good. I just redid my backyard fence, so it's a thing. Did you have a question back there?
Oh, no, I'm just saying the bedroom.
The bedroom. So the other two that you'll hear are bedroom and office. Okay? Typically people that value what? Privacy. Exactly. Now somebody that values privacy, I'm just going to go off script a little bit. I am not showing up like I'm showing up for you now. It's not like, let's buy houses. I'm really excited. Know your audience. Tonality, inflections are important. I like to think I'm a chameleon. And yet, I can tell you, when I have slower, especially like older clients, not offending anybody, I'm not necessarily their first pick. Because I bounce off the walls, I drink about 5 pots of coffee a day. Anyways, from there, the third part of my buyer consultation is what I need to know to serve them at the highest level. So I start with, hey, let's pivot a little bit if you don't mind. What are you looking for in an agent or a team? What are you looking for in an agent or a team? Now, if I have a team, what are you looking for in a real estate team? If I'm a solo agent, what are you looking for in an agent? If I'm getting the sense that they don't want to work with a team, yeah, use the mic by all means. Can you guys hear me? Yeah? Maybe? Yep. All right. What are you looking for in a real estate team? Teamwork. What are the common answers I'm going to get?
Being available.
Being available. What do you mean being available?
Pick the phone up.
Pick the phone up. I cannot stress this enough. I would say 7 to 8 times out of 10. Communication. They just want somebody to answer the phone. It is shocking. And it's so weird. It's almost ironic how real estate agents have hated answering the phone. And I'm actually guilty. I work in a sales-based industry where my job is to communicate, and I actually hate being on the phone. And yet, the one thing our clients want from us is communication. And 7 to 8 times out of 10, what's the one thing you're looking for in an agent? Communication. I want somebody to answer the phone. Cool. When they tell you what it is they're looking for, your one job in that moment, right then and there, is to become that agent. Hey, I understand communication is really important to you. And look, I can tell you from experience, it's really important to us as well. In fact, you and I are going to be communicating a lot throughout the process. And my commitment is that I'm going to be here every step of the way with you. In fact, you won't go more than 2 days without hearing from me. Do you prefer call, text, or email? I'm allowing them to teach me how they want to be treated. Both of them. And then I usually have the joke, look, I got unlimited minutes, blow it up. And I get that stupid little chuckle. And I get that stupid little chuckle. I got unlimited text, blow it up. And I can't tell you how many times I get the response, don't say that. No, seriously, I mean it. Or, hey, don't tell me that. No, seriously, I mean it. Call me, text me. If you call me at 11 o'clock at night, the worst thing that's going to happen, I call you first thing in the morning. Call me, though, so that I know to call you. The last thing that I want is for you to forget a question that you had, and then we don't get it answered. Communication, 8 times out of 10, is what they're looking for. So in that moment, I'm showing them how I am that agent. Do you prefer call, text, or emails? Okay? Next question that I love to ask, what makes this process a 10 out of 10 for you? Answers may vary. There's not a blanket statement. Sometimes it's price. Sometimes it's somebody that can communicate, somebody that answers their phone, somebody that can walk me through the process, somebody that really cares. The answers vary a lot. And what I'm doing in that moment, when they give me the answers, I'm becoming that person. Whatever they say, ooh, I just got an echo. I'm solving that problem. I'm letting them know I am the 10 out of 10. I'm that guy. Because I'm telling them this is exactly how I'm going to be 10 out of 10 for you. Regardless of what they say, I'm that. Last question that I love to ask that's really powerful, and I recommend writing this down if you haven't been taking notes. What's the one thing that you're most concerned about when it comes to this move? What's the one thing that you are most concerned about when it comes to this move? I've had people say, I don't know how to move my cats. Cats? Cats? Plural? Like a lot of cats? Like a whole veterinary thing of cats. Yeah, I've got a lot of cats. Like a ton of cats. Some people say fish tank. That was actually really common. You know, I don't know how, I've got a huge, 500-gallon fish tank. I don't know how to move it. Okay. That's the one thing that concerns you the most. My job then is to solve that riddle. Because if I can solve that problem for them, I'm their agent for life. I just solved the one thing that they're most concerned about. They have nothing else to worry about. And I'm letting them know, you just check that box. Smooth sailing from here. I got you. So the second I leave that appointment, I'm solving that problem. What's the one thing you're most concerned about when it comes to this move? Those 13 questions got me through 95% of my buyer consultations with an agreement signed, and I was one of those teams that had agreement signed. We left getting a BRBC signed. Back in the day, it was a BRB. What we have to do now in our buyer representation consultations is make sure that we're adding value on top of what we did before by providing, write this down, a good education and reliable information that allows our clients to make the best decisions. I believe that a good education and reliable information allows people to make the best decisions. Don't you agree? A nice little close there. A good education and reliable information allow people to make the best decisions. Don't you agree? So then my question becomes, if you don't mind us pivoting a little bit, what do you know about the real estate market in your area? A lot of times they'll say, you know what, I don't know much. Fantastic. Allow me to give you a little bit of information. If they do know something, where are they getting that info? Online? Zillow? What was it? TikTok? How accurate is the real estate information you're getting on TikTok? Pretty good. Solid, reliable. That's actually really good. Outside of uncrustable fresh toast recipes, I'm not getting a lot of information that's reliable on TikTok.
No, not.
The information that they have is probably not coming from the most reliable source. And so here's where that preparation comes into play. Here's where that competence becomes really evident. Because we have to educate them on what's going on in the market. Can we agree that over the last 2 years, the market has changed a little bit in its dynamic? Can we agree that in the last 6 months, the market has definitely changed a lot in its dynamic? We had a little window in San Diego at the end of last year where buyers had some power. Homes were sitting a little bit. We were able to negotiate some credits. We were able to get below list price to sell price, 96% sometimes. Then January rolled around and we are back to the races. Multiple offers on those homes, above list price significantly. In fact, our median sell price jumped 17% in the first 4 or 5 months of the year. And just as quickly as it accelerated, it has slowed down again. Are you guys seeing a little bit of a slowdown in your market? Is inventory up?
Yep.
Do buyers have a little bit more power than they did just a couple months ago?
Yes.
Educate them on that. Don't overpromise, and yet your job is to deliver value by giving them a good education and reliable information so they can make the best decisions. And that sounds a little bit like this. Hey, what do you know about the market in your area? What I can tell you is that we're seeing inventory is up, which is great because that gives you more options, and we want to focus on the properties that check those boxes we just uncovered. We don't want to waste our time looking at properties that are not on our non-negotiable list, because every property that we look at that doesn't check that box is a property that we might miss that does. Okay? What that also looks like is our negotiation strategy is going to look a little bit different. My goal is to make sure that you have the time to get the information that's going to allow you to choose whether or not this is the right home for you and your family so that you can get into the right school district, so that your kid can go to the school that you want. See how I'm bringing back motivation? Once I've given them a little bit of information on the market, write this down, this is powerful. I'm transitioning into asking, Are you familiar with how the home buying process has changed given the market conditions? Are you familiar with how the home buying process has changed given the market conditions? Here's where we undersell ourselves. Way too much. How has the process changed for us as agents just in the last 6 months? What was it?
It's been frustrating.
How so?
Well, I'm more on the listing side, but buyers are indecisive, write offers, cancel, ghost their agents. It's been horrible.
Fantastic. So we're seeing more properties come back on market. We're seeing more cancellations, which if I'm talking about process and strategy, we got an opportunity to maybe get a property that's not going to get to the finish line. I'm going to keep a pulse on those. Okay? Do you guys have more off-market opportunities coming into play? We do. Got a lot more off-market opportunities that I'm going to be able to put in front of you that are going to give you a little sneak peek on some other stuff that nobody else is allowed to see. 6 months ago, what were you guys doing with contingencies?
Sure.
I'll remove them all right now. Take the firstborn, here's the keys to the car, please it's in my office. Today, what are we doing?
We're asking them for the firstborn and their car.
Take the keys. Yeah.
Take that.
Yeah. The process has changed,
Yes.
right? This is where we get to flex a little bit. The funny thing is, every time I've asked that question, how's the process changed? People are like, well, I don't know. Because we don't think about ourselves as the consumer. We just think this is what we do as agents. We have to let our people know what we're doing. This is the meat that's going to separate us from other agents. How many of you have heard an agent at a listing consultation say, I'm going to get you the best price, and then do nothing to back it up? Most buyer consultations are, I'm going to get the commission covered, and then do nothing to back it up. If you can be that agent that gives them meat to chew on, you don't have to worry about competition. And then I love asking the question after I've showed them how the process has changed. Has anybody ever gone through this with you? Why is that question potentially so impactful?
So they remember.
I'm standing out. Has anybody ever gone through this with you? No. That's interesting because in my experience, this is information that a buyer needs to know so that they can make the best decision for themselves. Don't you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So any agent that's not giving you this information, how are we doing? And I'm just planting that seed. Because at this point, I've already gone through my 13 questions. I've showed them that I am who they need me to be. And I've started to give them the information that's going to allow them to comfortably say, yeah, this is my guy. He's got me. He's 100% what I need. So I've gone through my questions. I've given them some information on the market. I've navigated them through some changes in the process. What's next? It's the thing that you all came here for. It's the contract. So next, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I want to go through the buyer representation contract. This is the part where you and I form a partnership. We're together in this. I invested in the process with you, and I understand absolutely what's at stake. I also have helped you understand how we're going to get you to that end game. Here's what's important to know about the contract. There are 2 things that I need to make sure you're aware of. Again, I am not going line by line with you guys, and I'm definitely not going line by line with my clients. They don't want to read that contract any more than you do. You have to. They can choose to. There are 2 clauses or 2 parts of the contract that we have to know. And so I'm articulating, hey, there are 2 parts of the contract that I need to make sure you're aware of. The first one, this contract is good for 90 days. Which means at the end of 90 days, if for some reason you're unsatisfied with our service, if we're not fulfilling these promises that we made to you today, you can choose not to extend and find another agent. And I am confident that will not happen. In fact, based on the timeline that you shared with us, my goal is to make sure I have keys in your hand within 90 days. Okay? Now, break script. Who knew that the BRBC is only valid for 90 days now? Great. You learned a nugget. If you leave with nothing else today, that contract that you're going to leave here and get signed is only good for 90 days. You have to extend it every 90 days. Set the expectation now. Okay? They need to know that. And if you do your job, it's not difficult to get an extension. Now let's say, quick break script, right? Let's say we're talking to a buyer and they say, you know, that's great, but I'm not looking to move for the next 6 months. How do we tackle that? Share with you how I tackle it. That's exactly why we're signing it today. Would you rather start a week before you gotta move, or would you rather have a 6-month runway? That's exactly why we're here, so that I can make sure over the next 6 months we're putting exactly what we need to in place to get you and your family and the home in the school district so that your daughter can get into that school that she wants. Motivation, 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 motivation. I'm reminding them what's at stake. Okay? Timeline is number 1. The second piece of the contract that you need to know, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, is my compensation. Confidence in this moment is everything. Mm-hmm. If you waffle, if your voice shakes, if you give them an out, you lost. It just is what it is, and it's really important. Think about yourself as a consumer. It is what it is. And before I go into how I'm going to tackle it, I need to make sure that you have a perspective that is really important. Are there any lenders in the house? Great, because lenders have been really quiet over the last couple of months for good reason, because they're like, don't draw attention to us, don't draw attention to us. How are lenders paid? By the client. Do you guys know that? Lenders are paid by the client. How?
Points.
Points, origination fees. And they're wrapped into what we call closing costs. But because they're wrapped into closing costs, clients just assume that's just the cost of doing business. What are lenders paid for? To find the client's money. If you have Uncle Elon that's willing to give you a loan, you don't need a lender, you can avoid those costs. And yet, not all of us have Uncle Elon. So a lender goes and finds us money to buy the home of our dreams. It's just part of doing business. I need you to start thinking of your fee as the part of doing business. It's a closing cost. No different than lenders. Now, how many of you have ever had a lender throw in part of their commission to get a deal done?
Yeah.
Happens all the time. How many of you have thrown in part of your commission as an agent to get a deal done? Happens all the time. Those closing costs have always had a little bit of flexibility to them. This is no different. You have to have this perspective, and you have to make sure that your clients understand that perspective. This is just the cost of doing business, and here's where you're different. And this is just perspective. I'm not articulating this. Has a lender ever come across and said, hey, you know what, I'm going to get the seller to cover my origination fee? Anybody ever had a lender do that? If so, please put them in touch with me. I need help. Never happened. And yet, what am I going to do as their real estate representative? Exactly that. I'm going to get the cost of my services covered. So, the second thing you need to know about the contract, Mrs. Buyer, is my fee. It is insert percentage. Is this being recorded?
It's being streamed. It's being recorded.
Even worse. I will just stick with X% then. I can't say numbers. Okay? Insert whatever. And insert a number that you're proud of. Insert a number that reflects your value. How many of you have heard agents are overpaid? It's because they don't know what we do. See these wrinkles? See this hairline? It's not from just hanging out in the sun, that's from dealing with all my buyer's crap. And I do it proudly because I love what I do, and I'm paid well to do it. I'm worth every penny of my X%. Do you have a question?
What do you put on there?
I can't share a number. Legally, I can't. The position that I'm in, I can't. Especially because it's being sued.
Would there be a reason that you would charge different costs, such as maybe a 3%, 4%, 4.5%?
So here's what's important to know. That's a really good question. She asked, is there a scenario or a reason where you would charge different percentages? For me, the answer is no. And here's what's really important if you didn't know this already. The BRBC dictates that whatever number you put in is the maximum that you will make. The maximum. You cannot negotiate above it. You can negotiate it down. Now here's what I will tell you, and this is just in San Diego County. I can use these numbers because these are more factual and they're not based on what we're doing. We had a number that was thrown out. I'm going to write this in. What we realized is that buyer's agents haven't been getting that number for 7 years. Why are we fighting for something that doesn't really exist? Now, I know plenty of agents that are saying, hey, here's an opportunity to get paid more, and I'm all for it. Go get your value. Go get what you are worth, and be confident in that number. Understand, though, that that number is the cap. And that if you're going to justify that number, you need to know how to do it. And you do it by delivering value with 13 questions, with market updates, and with process updates. Okay? So let's finish this, and we'll open it up to Q&A. The second part of this contract to know is my fee. My fee is X%, and here's what that means to you, Mrs. Buyer. I'm going to break script again, sorry, because I need you to have some context. I've worked alongside people across the country to navigate what my script is going to look like. This is about the 12th iteration of it. The first 11, the consistent feedback I got, consistent across the board. It's too complicated. I had every scenario and algorithm played out and scripted. And every time, the feedback I got was, it's too complicated. It's important to understand that we transact hundreds of times a year. How often do our buyers transact? Once every 5 to 10? We cannot overcomplicate this for them. We cannot give them 15 scenarios. Simplicity is key. So if you're not going to verbatim mine, which is fine, I definitely recommend, and we'll talk about homework in a second, go make your own. It has to be simple. But here's what mine sounds like. My fee is X%, and here's what that looks like to you, Mrs. Buyer. You're hiring me first and foremost to find the home of your dreams. That is through agent partnerships, that's through public record, and that's through off-market opportunities. Do you agree? Ask them to anchor. Ask them, because of course they agree. It's a softball hypothetical. Of course, that's what I'm hiring you for. Mrs. Buyer, you're also hiring me to make sure that once we found that dream home, it's not enough to just find it. We got to get it to the finish line. You're hiring me to make sure that at the end of a 30-day escrow, I hand you keys to that dream home so that you and your family can insert motivation. Okay? And very importantly, Mrs. Buyer, you're hiring me to make sure that we get that dream home at the right price and under the best terms for you, including having the seller cover up to 100% of my fee. See, my goal, and something I'm very good at, Mrs. Buyer, is making sure that you pay $0 for my services. Does that sound good? Duh. What's important to know, Mrs. Buyer, is that prior to moving forward with any offer, we're going to have a closing estimate that details the final price, the monthly payment, and what it's going to cost you at the closing table, your cash to close, prior to determining if this is in fact the right property for you and your family so that you can get to that school district and get your daughter in the school that you love. Does that sound fair? Fantastic. I'm really looking forward to working with you. Sign here, my team is going to get to work with next steps, which is putting you in front of our lender so that we can finalize monthly payment numbers. I'm going to set you up on the MLS, and you're going to immediately start getting properties that match the criteria we just discussed. When you find properties that you love, I'm going to see it. We're going to start looking at some homes. You excited? Me too. Okay. How's that sound?
Great.
Simple, clean, confident, to the point. And it's just business as usual. We're right back into, cool, now we get to do the fun stuff. And your job is to negotiate with them. Okay? I'm not going into detail about what happens if the seller doesn't do it. I'm not going into detail yet about X, Y, Z. That is up to you to make sure that you can handle it in the way that you see fit. I'm very happy saying if I find my buyer a dream home and the seller won't contribute $1 and the buyer doesn't want to contribute $1, I'm not going to hold them to procuring costs. Good luck. I'm going to wish you the best. I'm going to let you navigate it yourself. I don't work for free, and yet I don't want you to lose a dream home because I'm going to hold you to commission. I'm going to let you go do it yourself. That's my choice. Not forever. That's me. I'm going to throw one thing in front of you, and then we're going to open it up to Q&A. I know we're going a little bit over. My apologies. I talk a lot. Old coach syndrome is a thing. The objection you're going to get is what? What's the main one that scares the heck out of a bunch of agents right now?
Interest rates.
No, objection from the buyer. I know where your head's at.
Not enough money.
I can't pay you. Right? That's the one that we are all terrified of. I'm here to promise, if you go through a consultation with confidence and competence and you ask the right question, you're going to get that objection, I would say 10% of the time. It's not going to happen often. Right? When it does, here's how I'm going to tackle it and how I strongly recommend you tackling it. For years, up until 2 days from now, I have lived under the premise that I'm going to take you to paradise. And that's not a song that I sing, that is just my philosophy. I want you to live in the happy place. I want you to focus on what it's going to be like decorating your home. I want you to be stoked about the process. And I don't want you to have to worry about the negotiation. I don't want you to have to worry about the price. I got that. You be happy. Those days are over. I need them to live in pain for just a minute. Because pain prompts people to move. Pain prompts people to make difficult and smart decisions. Here's an example. Anybody ever done work on their home? Anybody ever done a full rehab? Great. I'm just going to use myself as an example. I hired a contractor to redo my entire house. Now, I could go on YouTube and figure out how to do it myself. Why didn't I? Time's huge. Why else?
It wouldn't have come out the same.
Wouldn't have come out the same. Not just that. What would I have risked if I did it myself? Because I know Bob the Builder. I promise. I've got a whole thing of tools. I had no idea how to use 95% of them.
Extra cost safety.
Extra cost life. What is it?
You mess up.
If I mess up, say it again.
You mess up on a project?
If I mess up on a project, what happens? Cost me time, cost me money. It's not so much that I don't think I could do it. There's plenty of YouTube videos that would make you say, Chip and Joanna games make it look really easy. I don't do it because of the fear of messing it up. Because if I mess it up, I'm not dealing with a couple cracked tiles. I'm worried about what happens if I bust a pipe. What's the added cost that I'm going to incur if I mess up my kitchen? If I put a hole in a wall. Then I gotta go hire a contractor and I'm right back where I should have started. It's that fear that makes me say, oh, I'm gonna hire a professional. Same reason that you guys don't work on your car. You hire somebody that knows what they're doing. You guys know where I'm going with this, right? Mm-hmm. Here's how I tackle the objection. So Mrs. Buyer says, you know what, I appreciate it, Ray. I'm not comfortable signing the contract. I hear you. Tell me, what about the contract makes you uncomfortable? Here's what's really important to know, and this is with buyers and sellers. It doesn't matter. When somebody says something like that, I think too often we take it as like a personal attack. Right? Like, what do you mean you don't want to pay me my value? No. Is that really what's happening?
No.
What's really happening? No, when somebody says, you know, I'm not comfortable with the fee, what's really happening there?
They don't know the value of it yet.
They don't know the value yet, and I'll double down. I'm going to go a little bit deeper. They're doing what you and I would do, which is protecting our family's money. Is that fair? Yeah. We all agree that our buyers are doing exactly what we would do. It's the same thing when a seller says, you know, can you reduce your commission? And we get all like, oh, how dare you? They're doing exactly what we do. They're protecting their family's future. So don't get offended. Make sure that they understand the value that they're getting. So, hey, I hear you. What about the contract concerns you? You know, if I'm being honest with you, it's a fee. Okay. I appreciate that. I really do. Let me ask you, if you and I choose not to work together on this transaction, what are your next steps? What are they going to say?
I gotta find another agent.
I'm going to go find another agent. Okay? Mrs. Buyer, if you don't mind me asking, you know, let's say you do find an agent that is willing to put in a fee that's substantially lower than mine. Again, I can't say percentages, insert whatever number. Okay? You find an agent that's willing to work with you substantially at a substantially lower cost than what I articulated. How would you know if you hired the wrong agent? And let that silence sit. Do not rescue it. Let it sit. How would you know if you hired the wrong agent? No, you may talk. How would you know? Let's say you did. How would you know? You don't. How would you? But if you did, how would you know if you made the wrong hire? What is it?
They messed up.
What did they mess up?
You didn't find your home.
They didn't find you your home, or even worse, can we agree that
You overpaid.
they lost you the home or you overpaid? Ms. Byer, how would that make you feel to know that you hired the wrong agent and they lost you the home of your dreams?
Upset.
Let me ask, how important is it that you and your family get into that dream home in the school district so that your daughter can go to that school? See, what scares me, Mrs. Byer, is that if you make the decision to go with an agent who doesn't have the skill, who can't walk you through the process, who can't get you the dream home at the best price and the right terms, my fear, Mrs. Byer, is that you wouldn't even know you made a bad hire until when?
It's too late.
It's too late. You lost the house. Mrs. Byer, the last thing that I want is for you to lose the home of your dreams. Is that what you want? My commitment is to make sure that I put you in the best position to get the home of your dreams with the right price and the best terms. And after all, that's your goal, so that you and your family can get into the property with the school district so that your daughter can get a good education. That is the goal, right? And are you confident that my team and I are going to work our tails off and that we are the best positioned team to work for your interests? Don't worry about the fee. My job is to make sure it's taken care of. Let's get to work making sure we can find your dream home. Put them in pain for a minute and let them sit. I love happiness. Trust me, I'm a very happy-go-lucky guy. Biggest obstacle that I had to face when it came to being a coach in any capacity was you gotta let them feel it. You gotta let them live in the pain. You have to coach your clients into understanding value, because if you don't, the real reality, and I take this as a personal responsibility, the reality is that they will go find somebody that tells them what they want to hear with no skill, with no competence and confidence, that they can really take care of them. And they won't even know it until when?
Today.
Take that personally. Help your clients by showing them the pain of what happens if they make a bad hire.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys get some nuggets from today?
Absolutely.
Before we open it up to Q&A, who's the best agent in this room? Yeah. Couple more knees. My commitment is to make sure that this goal that we are launching next week is the most relevant and important class that you take. We have significant changes coming in the market, and I guarantee that the people who are showing up in Boulder in the next 7 weeks are going to be the best armed, the best equipped, and the best prepared to come out of that 7 weeks and come out of the rest of this year on top. If you haven't made the commitment to invest in yourself, your leadership team already has with a very generous reimbursement program. Registrations are open now. Make the commitment to prepare for what is here, not what's coming. It is here. I will show up 150% for y'all every week if you give me 100% back. Amber, can you go ahead and hit the button? Just go. Dang it. Oh, she's coming. Hold on. Amber! That's the finish. If you are so compelled and you are ready to make a commitment, register for Bolt. I would love to continue this conversation, make sure that we continue talking about sellers, buyers, and how to make sure we take more market share, how to make sure that we're dominating our buyer listing consultation. We're going to spend 7 weeks making sure that you are the best agents in the Inland Empire. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Yes.
What questions can I answer for you?